getting off of my quetiapine antipsychotic. I'm down from 25 milligrams to 12.5 milligrams. I just made that switch last night, and I just want to report what it's been like. It's so weird because at some points I feel really good, like my mood's just been up and down basically, and more like I feel like short-tempered, but I always kind of feel like that anyway. It could be a side effect of depression, irritability, and I have felt like that for a long time. But it's so weird. It's like I'm enjoying things that I normally, that I wouldn't enjoy while I'm on quetiapine. Quetiapine just kind of numbs you so much. Like, I'm pretty sure antipsychotics, they work on your dopamine system, and like they just give you limited dopamine, I think. I can't even remember. But so I feel like, I don't know, everything, my perception of stuff is like so much different, just going down by a little bit. And I've been on quetiapine up to like, I think I was on like 150 milligrams at one point, or like 200 milligrams, but it was like way too much. And I honestly never felt like quetiapine was a good medication for me to be on. Like, it did make me, it basically helped stabilize me when I first started taking it, because I remember when I first started taking it, I was like really worried that I was going like in a psychotic episode. I worried I was like prodromal, like, ooh, that word creeps me out, but I was so worried, and I still do worry, but I'm more confident now about going off of it because I just don't feel like it's a good medication for me to be on. And I'm not knocking anyone or telling anyone else not to be on it, but it's definitely a decision you have to make yourself and with your doctor. But I don't know, I've been watching like this YouTube channel about like saying that antipsychotics shrink your brain volume. And is it weird if I look at the camera? Because mostly I have trouble looking at people too, but I feel like looking right at the camera, I don't know why I feel uncomfortable a little bit doing that. But so I often look away. But yeah, so I went down by 12.5 milligrams. I almost went down by the full 25 milligrams, but it was like way too much. I started getting like really, like that uncomfortable level of anxiety, bordering on panic or whatever, or just like really afraid thoughts. And so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go slower, and so I took some. I took like 12.5 milligrams, and I just kind of felt super, I don't know, like alive but dead. I don't know, like trauma is so terrible because like oftentimes I do feel kind of like alive but dead. I feel like oftentimes I'm like, especially around people, like most of my trauma has to do with, well, I don't know if all of it, but a lot of it has to do with people, and like interrupts my natural ability to just be around other people easily. I think that's sort of like just supposed to be a thing, is that we're naturally supposed to be able to like be around other people, but trauma makes that difficult, and I feel a lot of times like, unsafe, or like I'm gonna burst into tears, or like I'm gonna say something that makes everyone think I'm completely crazy and hate me. But I don't know. I feel like that a lot. And I guess, I'm trying to challenge is the right word, maybe, those thoughts, or just like let those thoughts be, and just like remind myself that actually it's okay to be around other people, while at the same time it's okay to like not want to be around other people too, in my free choice. But I think yeah, the antipsychotic, going down on it is so strange, because it's felt like such a kind of like a long day already, even though it's only 4 o'clock, almost 5 o'clock. And I remember, like, I slept in, but I woke up around 11 because I was just like zonked out, and my sleeping schedule's been like, I've been sleeping a lot. Like, if I have the option, I will sleep for 10 hours plus if I have the option. And because I just feel so tired otherwise, like exhausted. But what was I saying? I was saying, like, oh yeah, my day has felt long because, like, this is super important. Like, dopamine and all these like chemicals in our brains affect what we think and how we perceive so much. Like, they are connected to how we enjoy and perceive things. Like, I was sitting there and I was just like, I was having such good thoughts. Like, the future felt good. Like, I don't know, I kind of have a habit of always, right now I'm like afraid of my upstairs neighbor. That's why I'm speaking in a low voice. I'm afraid of them hearing me, because I'm so embarrassed about saying all this stuff about my mental health. But feeling like how you feel is so closely related to like the chemicals that we have in our minds. Like, because I think because I went down on the antipsychotic, which restricts dopamine, and because I had extra dopamine, like, my thoughts were like more positive. Like, I don't know if that's just like a little bit of mania. I don't think so. I think for it to be classified as mania, it would need to be a bit more pronounced than that. But I just felt like happy, like kind of felt like good and happy, like, and I felt like interested in some stuff, and I don't know, my thoughts just kind of like wander a lot, and I like think about like random thoughts come into my head. A lot of times the thoughts I get, especially when I'm stressed, is like my mind will come up with like situations where everything gets fixed. And I think that is a little bit of delusion. It's also like it serves a purpose, obviously, because it's my body and my brain's way of like trying to address a problem. Like, it doesn't feel like my body and my brain are getting signals that things are like supposed to be different, or supposed to be some other way than they are right now. And so they come up with a story or like situations where everything gets fixed. And I don't know why, but sometimes that story or whatever is just like that people like me, and or like I feel really bad about people liking me. Like, it makes me want to cry. And I think it's related to because like attachment issues, because I'm afraid of my mom, like I was when I was a kid, and I'm still kind of afraid of her. Like, I'm afraid of things being good, because basically what gives attachment issues, like the kind that I have, which you would call it disorganized attachment, or I'm not sure if it's ambivalent attachment, but it's some type of insecure attachment, is when your primary caregiver is the source of safety, but also the source of fear. And so that can just, it's like super confusing for the developing mind. So it's it's like a kind of developmental trauma. And I'm looking into it a lot, or I have looked into it a lot, and the way of there's healing that is kind of like a lifelong thing, but it's so related to like almost everything in my life, because humans are social creatures and we need social relationships to be happy and healthy. So but the way of helping that developmental or that attachment, like that way of healing it, is like with safe attachment. What they would call in therapy would be a transitional, earned, secure attachment. So like you can apparently change your attachment style to, and I think there's like cases of this for successful people who've done it. They change their attachment style by working with like a therapist who is their safe person, and they learn over time that that person can be a secure attachment. And this lets them kind of like go in the water with water wings on, I guess, or like ride a bike with training wheels, kind of, when it comes to knowing people in a secure way. Because like I know how to deal with people like in an insecure way. It's easy. It's what I've known since I was a kid, and that's also the trouble, like, and I'm super on the lookout and afraid of bad advice like bad advice I try and stay away from, because attachment is, it's like one or two, number one or number two in terms of like everybody's life. Like spirit, stuff related to spirit might be number one, but attachment is like everything. Like that's when you're a kid and your parents, how you learned things were good, like where you explored from was an attachment. Like the babies who had secure attachment styles are more likely to go out and play and explore the world, but the babies who have insecure attachment styles are less likely to. Like they're more likely to shut down, like their nervous systems are more likely to be in fight or flight, I'm pretty sure, or freeze or fawn. And it was told to me by a, let's say, accomplished psychologist, I would say, like one who's worked for a long time in with children and mental health, told me that like the whole point, they said, of like growing up and being a kid is like you learn how to make secure attachments, and then you go and make your own, and like that's so important, and like so many things are like about that. And I think it's really sad, and it has been sad for me in my own life, getting caught up into like addictions, especially like sex addiction and porn addiction, and like masturbation, like process addiction, because those things can be really detrimental to a healthy relationship, I think, and can make it really difficult and can cause so many problems when it comes to just having a healthy, stable relationship. For like a lot of reasons, and I think it's something that's not talked about as much, like depending on, I don't know, it's weird because things are so in bubbles now, but like it's not like generally talked about, I think. I can hear my neighbors right above me. It stresses me out. I just don't like the thought of them hearing what I'm saying, because I don't know them. I don't trust them because I don't know them, and I don't know them because I don't trust them. I don't know, that's, yeah, I don't know. It's just difficult, but going back to weaning off of quetiapine, like my whole everything feels different. Like I was eating a tuna sub from Subway earlier, and I was just enjoying sitting there eating it. And a lot of times before, like I remember I just eating because I had to eat and not actually enjoying the food. So yeah, I think that's, dopamine plays such a big part in that. And oh good, it sounds like my neighbor left the front door, I think. So I think it's like, I don't like using the word interesting, but it's like dopamine, it affects us so much, and like the chemicals in our brain affects us so much, and I think it's so amazing how it affects the stories that we come up with. Like, just the fact that I enjoyed eating that sandwich so much. But I also think that's a good reason why we need goals in our life, and that goals are so important, and that faith is so important, because even when our dopamine's low, even when it's high, even when it's like, it doesn't matter. It just, when we stick to our goals and we feel discipline and we keep doing what we know is right, beyond just a feeling of feeling good. Because, yeah, it's more of like a spiritual thing. That's where I think spiritual things are so important, because then we know on a different level, like a deeper level, like a spiritual level, why we're doing something or what to do. Like, because we have a why. I think the why is so important. And I think it's like crazy, because I heard from a psychiatrist, and this is like one of many reasons, but that I did stop seeing them and going to that therapy group was because the psychiatrist said, I don't even think the why is important. I was like, the why is so important. Like, that just creeped me out. Ugh. That creeped me out pretty bad, actually. And yeah, the why is so important, because like, that's your like, your meaning, right? That's meaning. Like, for me and for a lot of other people, Jesus is our meaning. Like, he gives meaning. He died for our sins so that we could be with God. Like, so that we didn't have to sin anymore, so that we could be with God. And he lived a perfect life. Like, his life, he lived in a way that was like the truth, and he lived in a way that showed us what was right, and he is like the example of how to live with love, of how to do what's right, of how to be selfless. Like, I just think it's so good. Like, it's so good. Like, yeah. There's this prayer that I pray a lot of the time, and it's the Chaplet of Divine Mercy, and in it, it says like, one line in it says like, there is an abyss of wickedness and ingratitude, and I think that's so true. Like, it is a literal abyss. Like, it just keeps going. Ugh, it's so gross. Like, I just don't like it. Ooh, creeps me out. Because like, good things, they're good. Like, duh. And I just love that pureness, that purity that is goodness and is God, because like, our stories, like the things we're saying, and I think like mostly everything is a story, honestly. Because our stories and everything, like, that's going on in like the material world, like this world we can see with our or experience with our five senses, the stories in this world that we can see with our five senses are like they can just like spiral down all the time, and we can be like so stuck in like bad things for so long because we keep doing the same bad things. Like for me, it was like lust is like my huge downfall, or was my huge downfall, and I still struggle with it. And but God saved me from that, and he saves me from that. Like I ask for his help when I feel those lustful thoughts. And like our current world, like modern day, it can give us, and the devil tries to give us so many temptations nonstop through our phones, through the like algorithms. Like I don't know if the algorithms are good or bad, but they can just keep feeding you more of what you click on and what maintains your screen time, like your watch time. So for a lot of men, we got stuck into porn addiction partly because it's like so available, and it's even pushed. Like if your algorithm is not that way, you wouldn't even notice, but once your feed starts to become like a lot of stuff with a lot of skin, or with like a lot of provoking images, less provoking images, then it just more and more comes. Like, and I don't know if it's the same way for women's feeds, but I'm sure it probably would be. And I know some women do struggle with this, but not as bad as men. I think men are more visual, women are more story based in their like attraction systems or something. But I don't know if I put that very well, but like men are more into seeing something, whereas women are more into, on average compared to men, are more into like story stuff. That's why they like those story, like, yeah, story stuff. But yeah, it can be such an abyss of that. Like you can just get lost in it, and cravings of the flesh, and it's a big deal. Like it's a big deal because it affects like so many things. Like it affects your mood, it affects like you wanting to go after another partner. Like for me, for sure it has. And then if you get another partner, it can still affect your life because it can cause your partner to like not trust you. I've heard this before from a girl said that her partner was like she got a boyfriend, but then he was still looking at porn. And like I've done that when I had girlfriends, and like maybe I was more careful about it. Like I didn't tell them, but it still affected it. Like, and is not good for the relationship. Like it affects men's drive. Like, and 100% it does. I'm just thinking from my own experiences. Like I don't want to go into detail, but you just have a different drive when you're doing that lust stuff than when you're being in purity and like resisting temptation and asking God for help away from temptation. So I just went into a whole rant there about it, but I think it was necessary because it's such an important topic. And I think that so many young men, and even boys, like I was exposed to hardcore pornography when I was 5. And that ain't good. That ain't good for the brain. And so I developed like a super secret addiction to it, and it lasted all throughout my life until like now when I'm like almost 30. Just in the last few months I've been fighting it and like asking for help at church with the priests, and like even then it's still like it was hard to do that, but I don't know. I think it's the good fight, and I think that the rewards in heaven are worth it. And oh yeah, back to meaning a little bit. Like, meaning is so important, and like I've gone into the back of the Bible, like to Revelation, like, and okay, this is like, I just gotta say, like, what I saw, like, it's, you get to be with God, singing his praises and worshiping him endlessly, and just get to be like next to his purity and his goodness and his mightiness and his power for all of eternity. And that is a reward worth everything for, because that is just pure goodness. It's like peace. It's like you're reunited with the God of the universe, and that's just, it's indescribable, it's ineffable. And I just want to spread that message, because I got a message from God telling me to keep planting seeds for people to worship him. And like, I know that he brings that peace that people are craving. When I was at my lowest point, he was there for me, and I felt it. That I felt Jesus, his presence, that he was there for me. I felt it. And that's something that you feel in your heart. You actually feel it like in your chest, in your heart, and it's so strong. And Jesus' good word fills us with that feeling, that peace, that calm. And then when we follow his word, I think that's amazing, because we have a why. It gives me a why. Like, it took me so long to start just a Bible study, but I stayed with it where normally I wouldn't have stayed with something like that, because I had a why, like, for God. And that's worth keeping patient and persevering and not getting super mad at people about, and just keep going, because it's worth it. And that just feels good. Like, yeah. Yeah. And so that's why I like studying the Bible. Oh yeah, I forgot to pick it up, but my new Bible came today. I'll pick it up tomorrow. Ooh, I'm excited. My new Bible came. Yee. I'll pick it up tomorrow. It's a Catholic Bible. I was using a Protestant Bible, a New International Version, so I switched now to the Catholic version. I'm still learning a lot about Catholicism, so that's why it took me a while to update, because I didn't even really know. I didn't really know that I wasn't using the right Bible. But anyways, someone let me know, so I bought one. And yeah, I'm out of time actually on this video. But okay, thanks for watching.